Alright, welcome back to another video, and today we are doing WrestleMania 41 predictions. Now, obviously we are halfway through the year, so we're doing this fairly early. We probably do one more towards the end of the year, but we want to get some early predictions and kind of compare those to Mania when it does come around, and we'll kind of see what those predictions look like. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of jump right into it. We're kind of fantasy booking it, so it's not gonna be 100% like realistic, I guess you could say. But at the same time, we do kind of base it off of realism in a way.
Yeah.
But however, one of these matches is not gonna happen, and that's gonna be my first one, and that is Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Just it would be a crazy match. Obviously, that kind of leads into another one of the matches in the future. I'm sure everybody could predict. But yeah, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee would just be a banger of a match. Would be a holy shit moment in the WWE, especially at a WrestleMania.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I mean, AJ, I think everybody's looking forward to her coming back, but yeah, you kind of gave like an unrealistic one, you said, so I kind of match you. This is a tag team match, and we have CM Punk teaming up with Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Now, obviously, this isn't going to happen. I know that. However, I think it would be really cool to see two people who have been friends and then split up and then have been on like a rivalry since then, that with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. But then you also have the dynamic between CM Punk and Seth, then Drew and Seth, Drew and Roman. Eventually, Punk and Roman are going to have beef. So I think it would be a really cool, like, booking-wise when you go into the bill for it. And it's for the biggest stars in the company, so I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and kind of like you did going off of my pick, I'm kind of doing the same thing. And that is, this is going to be a triple threat match. Now, how do you get here? It'll be maybe a little bit difficult, but at the same time, not really. And that's going to be Bayley versus Io Sky versus Julia. Now, obviously, you have history with Bayley and Io. You have history with Io and Julia. Not much Bayley and Julia, but that's the part, you know, you got to kind of get there storyline wise. Maybe Julia attacks Io. Bayley feels bad because she's the big baby face and it was her friend. She goes to help. Then Io just says, I don't want your help, and it becomes this big thing or whatever. But Bayley, Julia, Io. Really good match. Big platform to put Julia on to kind of raise her hand and let her get that win there, obviously. And, yeah.
I really enjoy that. Obviously, Julia. Really excited to see where she goes. For me, I have one. Now, this one, I have Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Now, with my logic, I don't think that Judgment Day will be around by WrestleMania 41, if I'm being honest. And I think just Finn will probably cost Damian maybe his title. Maybe he calls him like another contender shot, and they kind of just start beefing with each other. They finally split. And they eventually go at each other, because we haven't seen them tangle in the rings, I don't think ever really. So it'll just be fun to have a match, and they're two really good wrestlers, so it should be really fun.
Yeah. And then for my next one, kind of led into that with my first pick, and that is Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. These are all obviously non-title matches that we're kind of naming right now. But yeah, Seth Rollins versus Punk, don't need a title. Kind of builds with the other one with Becky versus AJ. And yeah.
Yeah, for my next one, similar to yours, kind of, Tiffany versus Charlotte Flair. I think it's two people who have similar dynamics. However, I think their differences would be able to make a great match with each other. They have two similar kind of personality and gimmicks, I guess you can say. But yeah, I think it's two great women just going out in the ring.
Yeah, and for my last non-title match, it is going to be a fun one, a cool one. I feel good moment depending on how you think of it, but R-Truth versus John Cena. I know it'd be literally an amazing thing to see R-Truth on a WrestleMania stage versus John Cena. It'd be absolutely massive for him. Obviously, you could use John Cena in a better way than that to kind of help put over a younger person or whatever it might be. But if you just want a feel good moment at a WrestleMania, what better way than put him in a match versus R-Truth?
Yeah, and plus John Cena is R-Truth's childhood hero, so that would be great for R-Truth. You would get a John Cena match. I'll give you my John Cena match. John Cena, obviously one of the biggest faces of all time, and why not match him against a heel, one of the best heels right now, and that's Gunther. Not only do I think this could be a good story dynamic you can play, but also an in-ring match. Gunther could carry, I think, Cena through a 15-20 minute match probably, and just be a solid, fun match, because yeah, Cena and Gunther.
Yeah, for sure. And then for my SmackDown tag match, this is my first one. It will be a six-man tag team match, and that is going to be the Street Profits versus DIY versus Solo and Jacob Fatu. Now you might be thinking, why Solo and Jacob and not Tamatanga and Jacob, and that's because Tamatanga's not on the card, and I wanted Solo and Jacob on the card, so it's kind of simple as that.
Yeah, that'd be really crazy, and there's a lot of stuff I think that would happen in that. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. For me, there has been rumors of this team potentially joining WWE. At first, there was AEW, however, but I'm going with DIY taking on Motor City Machine Guns. Two of the best tag teams right now, and probably of the past 20 years. So yeah, I think them just locking up at a Mania stage would be absolutely phenomenal, and probably be a 5-star match from Dave. So. Yeah, just really good match. Would really see the dynamic between them.
Yeah, and then moving from the SmackDown tag titles to the United States title. And this is going to be the big one, my kind of out of left field one, sort of. And that's LA Knight versus Joe Hendry. Two of the best men characters, I guess you could say, in wrestling right now. Joe Hendry, one of the most over people. LA Knight, maybe not as over as he once was towards the end of last year, maybe. But he is still LA Knight, and by WrestleMania he can be a megastar again, and that would just be a great headline of a match: LA Knight versus Joe Hendry.
Yeah. Yes. Stay on the United States title with LA Knight. I also have him in my match, and that is going against Ricky Starks. Now I know obviously Ricky Starks is still an AEW wrestler. However, I do see him going to the side once his contract runs out. I'll see kind of how things are standing right now. But yeah, I think this would be really fun. Similar dynamics. They both kind of get compared to Rock, so would it be kind of fun just seeing like the Rock Juniors or something like that. But yeah, two really good wrestlers as well, so I'm sure they would also deliver in the ring.
Yeah, and then going to our women's tag titles, that's going to be this is kind of another sort of weird one, because like we kind of mentioned in our previous video, if you did see that the tag division this year hasn't really been that great. So we're going to try to change that and add a new tag team here. And that's going to be Candice and Indy, obviously a known tag team right now, versus the new tag team of Dakota Kai and Zelina. Obviously, they know each other off camera, obviously, because they work together. But they also have like a podcast together, Twitch channel, whatever. They kind of hang out a lot and whatnot. So yeah, I kind of just made shift this team, a good heel group to go against, a good face group to go against Candice and Indy. And yeah, Dakota Kai would obviously turn face to do this.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to yours, basically. For me, I have a makeshift tag team with a already tag team right now. And I have Raquel and Nia Jax teaming up. Now, we haven't seen Raquel in quite a while, I think since Elimination Chamber, I believe, or a little bit after. I think it's be cool, because I don't think we've really seen two powerhouse women together as a tag team, and I think with them as like this dominant force maybe could kill the division in a way, but I can also think whoever beats them is kind of like this big underdog, something like a Kaden and a Katana Chance. I think could be really cool to defeat them, but yeah, they would be going against Indy and Candice in this match. And yeah, I just think just 4 pretty good women in the ring, so yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of 2 giant women who are tag teams, I am going to mention them, but they're not a tag team anymore in my world, because that is Bianca and Jade. So they're probably the last tag team outside of the one you just mentioned in your world. But yeah, Bianca and Jade, once a former tag team champion, now they'll be going against each other for a world title at WrestleMania. Obviously, the path to get there is really easy, and it's likely gonna happen. But yeah, let's see what that match looks like.
Yeah, I have a similar match to you. I do have those 2 people involved. However, mine is a 4-way. So I have Bianca Belair taking on Jade Cargill, Michin, and Chelsea Green. Now, Michin, I think, is probably one of the biggest stars growing right now. I think she's great. Put on some of the best matches this year in consistency-wise. And then Chelsea Green, she's been one of the funniest characters for so long. Everybody loves her, it feels like, and I think she would be great to take the pin probably in this match. I don't think she would win, obviously, but she's also really good in the ring. I think she's pretty underrated in that aspect, too. So
yeah, it'd be great to see Michin in a Mania world title picture like that. That'd be great. I'm sure she would obviously love something like that as well.
Now, I think that would be her first Mania as well, so it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And then moving on, we are going to do our Raw tag titles. Now, for me, sort of a weird one in a way, but not really, and that is going to be the Usos versus New Catch Republic. Obviously, the Usos are split up on different brands currently, but Jay kind of got written off TV with an injury, but the Bloodline is rumored to be coming back all together. Jay and Jimmy will be back together one day, and hopefully this is where it'll be versus the New Catch Republic, two of my favorite teams. Love Pete Dunne, love Tyler Bate, love to see him versus the Usos.
Yeah, I also have a New Catch Republic in my match, and I'm kind of having an NXT throwback match, kinda, and that is New Catch Republic take on AOP. I think AOP right now probably aren't in the sights of a tag team champion shot. However, I think if they were to maybe split up from Karrion Kross and Scarlett, I think them back with Paul Ellering as AOP themselves would be really fun, and I think they're really good and underrated. Kind of play the big powerhouse guys in the tag team division, which is kind of neat right now. I feel like we have a lot of like smaller tag teams, which isn't bad, obviously, but it's cool to see the diversity sometimes when you have a big tag team versus a little tag team. So, yeah, just really good.
Yeah, and then we're going to move on to our heavyweight title on Raw, and that's going to be Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Obviously, Drew McIntyre, leading up until even today, he's been screwed over a bunch of times. Technically won the world title, but lost it immediately after. Won the Money in the Bank, lost it immediately after. There's been all these, random costings. So in my world, he would continue basically losing the entire year. Maybe win a Rumble. That's how you get your match with Gunther. And hopefully he would win in my world. But yeah, in my world, he does win. And that's how Drew McIntyre finally gets the gold.
Yeah. For me, for my World Heavyweight title match, I had the Dominic Mysterio take on Braun Breaker. Now, obviously, right now, neither of them are in that World Heavyweight title picture. However, I do think Dominic will be holding gold, hopefully sometime by WrestleMania, because he hasn't won any gold on main roster. I know he went to NXT and won the North American. However, I do think he's very deserving, and also Braun Breakers as well. Plus, it's two really young guys who, whoever they take the belt off of, whoever is a champion going into it, is probably going to be a big star, and obviously Dominic already is a big star, and Braun. So yeah, just two young guys who either Dominic, one of the best heels right now, and obviously Braun Breaker we've seen as a face was pretty popular, and yeah, I think it's again good dynamic.
Yeah, and then we'll move on to the Raw Women's Championship, and that is gonna be another sort of weird one for me again. I know, kind of consistent with that here, but it is Rhea versus Roxanne. Two of probably my favorites in all of women's wrestling right now. Love Roxanne. Love to see her get called up or maybe just enter the Rumble, win the Rumble, and that's how she gets it. Or, there's a multitude of ways you can get here, and I would just love to see them go that direction because it'd be really cool, at least for me as a fan of both.
Yeah, for me, I also have Rhea, and I have another NXT person or person who has appeared in NXT, and that is Jordynne Grace. Two big, muscular women, and I think they're two of the best women right now. Not at least two of the most popular, I would say. And I think if they were to get in the ring, it would be crazy, especially Jordynne Grace, who would probably have to win the Rumble, I'd say, to get into this. So kind of unrealistic. However, if she were to win it, still in her TNA contract even, would be a crazy moment. And yeah, I think this would be a phenomenal match between Rhea and Jordynne.
Yeah, for sure. And for my IC match now, that is going to be Braun Breaker versus Chad Gable. Obviously, we are leading towards a SummerSlam where it's Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn, and it's looking like Braun Breaker is going to get that win and, get that win back over Sami Zayn. And in my world, he'll hold it all the way until WrestleMania, and that's where Chad Gable will finally kind of get away from the Wyatt Six, kind of defeat that demon, maybe turn face again, and hopefully win the Intercontinental Champion finally. He's obviously lost it to Sami, couldn't win a shot back. Now he's getting haunted by the Wyatt Six and everything going on with the Alpha Academy and the Creeds. So yeah, it'd be really cool to see him go through all that to finally get the big win at Mania.
Yeah, for me, for my Intercontinental Champion, I have Ilya Dragunov take on Sheamus. Now, these are two hard-hitting, phenomenal wrestlers in ring. I think they can add a great story with it. I'm sure they can work something out, obviously. I don't know how you would do it. But, yeah, I think it would be a fun, good match. So, that's why I'm picking it.
Yeah, and then for my main event, I have Cody Rhodes versus The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Triple threat for the Universal title. This is kind of the match we've been waiting for. Obviously, we want Cody Rock. Obviously, we want Roman Rock. Kind of hard to do everything in the time that The Rock has left, or maybe what he wants to give back at least. And this is kind of a way just to get all of them in a ring together. Would probably be one of the biggest matches of all time. And yeah, just be a really good way to get them all together. And yeah, it'd be amazing to see the build towards that.
Yeah. For me, Roman Reigns has already been used, and he's not doing double duty. I'll tell you that. And so I have Cody versus The Rock. We kind of already getting teasers of this, kind of. Obviously, after Raw, after Mania, we've seen the stuff between Rock and Cody. And obviously, Rock was whipping his ass almost literally. So there's already a story there. And I'm sure this match will be phenomenal. Like you said, a big blockbuster, high, grossing match. So yeah, this would be crazy. And yeah.
Yeah, and that is all of our Mania predictions. We gave y'all 14 matches here, I believe. And yeah, hopefully a lot of these come true. These are kind of, like I said, a lot of fantasy booking in them. What we want to see more so of what we think will happen. But once we get closer to Mania, we'll do another one of these where it's what we think will happen more than fantasy booking. But it'll be really cool to compare all these videos to what actually happens at Mania. And yeah, let us know what y'all's Mania predictions are, what y'all would like to see at Mania. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.